All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the PropTech Genius Show. And I'm so excited because today we have somebody here from Norway. Arild, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I'll butcher it, but he's here and he's going to talk and tell us all cool things about PropTech in Norway, his story, what he's been doing, and we'll just kind of get into it. So it'll be fun. So I didn't say your last name, so you're like Madonna. You just get one, you're Arild. You don't have to know your last name. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
You can pronounce it. No, it's all good. But welcome to the show. I'll let you kind of tell everybody who you are, what you're doing, and you're today's genius. You're today's genius. Not everybody calls you a genius, but I call you a genius because I think you're a genius. So there you go.
Great. Thanks for having me, Amy. It's a
Sure.
pleasure to be here.
Hmm.
My name is Arild Grepstad. I live in Norway, in our capital of Oslo. Enjoying life here, but loves traveling as well. So as often as I can, I travel around the world.
Awesome. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. So where are you working or what are you working on today? What are you working on?
Yeah, so for today, I'm a mentor on behalf of Innovation Norway.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. So the company I'm a mentor at is a PropTech company placed in Bergen. That's a city west in Norway. So it's a
Hmm.
beautiful city, and the company has a dedicated, interesting team as well as a board, and they do a lot of interesting stuff within PropTech.
Oh, very cool. I hear the train ride from Oslo to Bergen is very beautiful. And if you're ever in Norway, you should take the train. That's the only thing I know about Norway.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. It's a great mountains and stuff, but it's
Yeah.
also a lot of tunnels.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Well, see my one anecdote, it was already ruined. So, okay. All right. No worries. Too funny. Okay. So let's talk about the prop tech scene in Norway. I mean, so we were talking about this earlier. Yeah, someone from said that there's just a ton of prop tech companies in the Nordic region. And so or before we get there, what is Innovation Norway? What does it do? Or is it like an incubator or a venture studio? What is Innovation Norway?
Yeah, that's a good question. Innovation Norway is a big organization in Norway that support businesses. A lot of startup and scale ups, and they have
Okay.
different programs doing that. And you can say they are founded by the government and the state.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Yeah.
oh, okay, very cool. So kind of like in the US, probably like our Small Business Administration, but are you more active in the startup world, I'm assuming? I mean, so you're getting placed on these boards, you're mentoring, so
Yeah.
you're pretty active in that space. That's really interesting. That's
Yeah.
very, very
So
cool.
thanks.
Doesn't does I'm
Sorry.
sorry, does Innovation Norway place capital in these businesses? Does it do that too, or give them loans, or what
Yeah.
is Innovation? Yeah, oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, all the things you mentioned they do, and they contribute in helping, obviously, with mentors and
Hmm.
with senior advisors, etc. So it's a very good institution.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So the prop tech company you're working with now, what do they do?
Yeah, they are a startup going on the scale up now, and
Okay.
they collect data with high tech solutions. Uh, so you have Yeah, just trying to illustrate. If you see, um, so they deliver a scalable service that's
Hmm.
combining specialized knowledge in GIS data and analysis
Oh, cool.
within geography and aerial operations. So that means real estate, both building and landscape and
Hmm.
nature. Yeah. So and they're going into a more scalable business model now that I'm trying to give some advices.
Well, yeah, I know. It's always fun. I mean, I have a startup, so I get it. Like your hair's on fire constantly, and then so it's sometimes you have to pivot, sometimes you have to change where you want to go, and lead where the market leads you, right? Yeah, that's
Mm.
very cool. So talk about your background. So we were talking a little bit before. You've been in a lot of tech companies. You've been kind of around the all sorts of places. So tell us how you started.
Yeah, great. It started back in 2012, so not
Hmm.
that long ago, but at the same time, I'm pretty young. But so it started within fintech, financial
Okay.
technology,
Okay.
and I was one of the founders there.
Hmm.
And that meant starting from scratch. And in like 3 years or so, we became a market leader. So that was pretty fun. Uh,
That
and
was, wait, time out. You went in 3 years, you became the market leader. Like talk about your hair being on fire. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. That's
I
crazy.
think, the timing was there. There was not
Yeah,
that many
yeah.
companies. Yeah. So we have
That's
moved.
crazy. Yeah. So were y'all having parties in the boardroom, taking tequila shots like Adam Newman from WeWork? Were y'all doing all those fun things? I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. We tried not to.
Oh, that's crazy. So you started there, FinTech, right? Caught the market.
Yeah,
That was when FinTech was going crazy, right?
yeah,
2012, 2013. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so cool. And then where'd you go after that?
So now we're into insurance technology for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
The timing there wasn't the same, so what's the timing? And
Yeah.
so then the journey went to marketing and technology.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so and yeah, and then I went into PropTech because before I became a mentor, I was CEO of a Norwegian company called Vinden.
Mm-hmm.
So very exciting journey. The Vinden originally Vinden started in Sweden. That's the neighbor country to Norway.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and they wanted to scale up and expand to other markets. That means
Mm-hmm.
countries. So
Yep.
they start up in Norway, and pretty soon they figure out that they needed a CEO in the Norwegian market. So that when I was coming in the picture there.
Ah, okay. And what kind of company was that? Which one was that one? That was your marketing tech company or a different one?
Yeah, that was within PropTech.
That was in
So
prop tech. Okay. All
yeah,
right. Yeah,
so
you've been around the block, dude.
yeah.
That's interesting. So that company, where did that company end up? That prop tech company. What did it end up doing?
Yeah, so the core business was combining technology using uh, in-house developed solutions with
Okay.
with storage spaces. So move the storage spaces out of the big cities of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and save space in the cities and do it in a more easy way for customers, both business customers and consumers.
What kind of, you talking about physical storage spaces? Like where
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, interesting. So it
exactly.
was for the self-storage industry, which is cool. That is super cool. The self-storage industry here in the United States, it's becoming more and more automated. You don't even really need a person there anymore. Like it's really kind of interesting because everything is there's a key code at the gate, and if you don't pay your bill you can't get in. And they basically will, every once in a while you might, but you don't, it used to be very manual, very but now it's just truly automated. Everything, you pay everything online, you get access control online. And there is gate, and they just gate it, and they use gate codes. It's really, really kind of an interesting system here. I don't know if it's what it's like there, but that's kind of how it is here, for sure. For
Very
sure.
interesting to hear, and it started to come these types of solutions in Norway as well. The last couple of years.
Yeah.
As I like to say, like the U.S. market is often a role model for Scandinavia and Norway, and
Mm,
because we look to the States and think, wow, so that's impressive, and
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of businesses in Scandinavia and Norway try to adapt the business ideas into a Norwegian framework and to the
Uh,
Norwegian culture, if you follow me.
yeah, no, I do. But I also think the US looks across the pond at y'all, especially on the ESG front. I think we're so far behind the times on anything environmental. Like it's bad. I mean, it's just silly. Yeah, so I think, more and more, and then I think the Europe has really approached tokenization more. Yeah, they're more friendly to it, right? Anything around blockchain and developing regulations around all of that kind of stuff. I think they're kind of leading there. The US is, we just don't know what to do with it. The SEC over here kind of looks at it and goes, yeah, I really don't know what to do with that. And so it just
Mhm.
struggles there. But no, I mean, yeah, I think we both innovate in different ways and are, but, depending on what our pain points are and what our customers are asking of us, right? Which I find kind of interesting. But yeah, no, I think in the whole automation thing here is it's in just the last 3 or 4 years has really become real strong. And I think it's interesting to see what AI will do with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and all of those things. So are you the PropTech solutions you're in now, are they using AI, or are they at all have an AI component to it or not?
They're like the starting process of
Yeah,
implement some, yeah. But
yeah,
yeah, and I also think AI is extremely interesting. So,
yeah.
and now I think like, yeah, it's not just a buzzword. It's like
No,
it's happening.
yeah. It's not. We're not going back.
Yeah.
It's not like we can say, oh yeah, that was a fad. No, it's
Yeah.
it's not a fad. It's here to stay. I mean, it's like the internet. When the internet got here, it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cute. No. It's here to stay. Right. And so yeah, I think it's if companies don't have an AI strategy, they're really basically going to die on the vine, and they're not going to be here in a couple years ahead. It's really kind of a really cool revolution for sure, to
Mm.
see how it impacts it, just around the automations and what you can do with it and what you can teach it. And but I think what the cool thing is with AI is it's pointing to the fact that we don't have very good data. I think that's the key thing, right? It's like, yes, you can have this great AI shiny little thing. It can hallucinate all on your bad data, right? So like if
Mhm.
you want the latest and greatest, AI shiny object, you better make sure your data is good, right? Because
Mm.
if your data is bad, it's just going to tell you bad answers, garbage in, garbage out, right? It doesn't matter who's telling it to you. If you're asking your computer by typing it in, or your AI is looking for it, better make sure your data is good. I think that that's kind of what the big thing that it's highlighting at this moment is yeah, AI can tell you all sorts of fun things.
It's a very good point. It is
Yeah, yeah,
human
yeah.
made, so we could.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a couple of really cool AI startups here in Austin. I'm in Austin, Texas, and um, there's and the next evolution, like OpenAI, fabulous people. And what they did was basically they just started the revolution, right? And so, it's a first gen, or maybe they're on 4 or 5 or whatever of their product, but there's now completely different ways to look at AI that are coming out now, where typically on an AI set is you have to go, it has to learn everything from ground zero, right? Well, now the new AI says, no, we already know all of these things. So we'll just start from here, not from zero, right? So that's the next gen of AI tools. They're going to come out there. It'll consume, whatever data set you have, whatever in whatever language, doesn't matter. And it'll take what it already knows from other places and then apply it to your stuff. It's super cool. And
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
is.
like, I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's
you
kind of
know?
mind blowing.
It is because and because it's such a huge change. A lot of people are scared, right? A lot of people are like, we don't know. Well, we don't know. I don't know. Maybe I won't have a job. I don't know, but I think I will. I think we'll just kind of figure out a different way of living, right? But yeah, no, for sure. How many prop tech companies in Norway are there, like a bunch doing the
Yeah,
AI thing? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure how many that's starting implementing AI, but good guess would be a bunch. But like I think the most are in the starting process. Even though I think also at the same time many companies oversell how far they have come. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is so true. Like you just change your name .ai and now you're
Yeah.
cool. You didn't do anything.
No.
I went from this.com to this.ai. Now I'm good.
Yeah.
Now
So
I know, I get it.
and like Amy, I remember when you asked about how is the um, business situation within PropTech in Norway, and I
Yeah.
just looked up, I think it was, yeah, last month, and we have something in Norway called PropTech Norway. That's like a
Hmm.
community for
Right.
the PropTech companies, obviously. And
Yep.
they were in a financial newspaper and had a number that's very interesting because the capital inflow in the industry for prop tech startups that
Hmm.
be was had a it was 137% increase.
Increase. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the US, it's not like, well, the capital markets here are a little more strained, I would say, because with the recession. But I think what happens here in the US is we call it tech winter, is what the term we call it here, because very, very little capital is flowing into tech companies. In 23, it went from 21 was you just had an idea, people threw money at you. 2019, same. But in 23, it was very much nothing. I mean, there was no capital flowing into the tech markets. And this first quarter 24 kind of similar. It's not as good.
Yeah.
So, but and even less was going into prop tech because a lot of people basically PropTech is always like handcuffed to real estate. So if real estate's not doing well, they think PropTech is not going to do well, right? It's the biggest customer, which kind of makes sense in one vein, but as as you think about it, no, technology is going to lead real estate out of its recession. I mean, basically is what's going to have to happen. And so in the US, there's not a lot of capital flowing. I mean, there's some, and there are those customers those companies that are getting capital, which is great. And I applaud everybody who's getting capital right now. But yeah, it's people are a little more picky with
I
their money.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
for sure.
understand.
Yeah.
Like I can relate to in Norway in the real estate business. It had been like down hill for some time, but at the same because we have a high interest rate, etc.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, it goes around, and now we're starting to see a better signs. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think we'll get at I always find it funny when I talk to people from other countries because I think the real estate recession is like a US phenomenon, right? But it's not. I mean, it's happening kind of all over. I mean, I talked
Mm.
to somebody in South Africa, they're feeling it there. I'm talking to, other Latin American countries, other European countries, and it's still prevalent pretty much everywhere, right? It's that there's like it might not be a global recession, but definitely in the real estate because everybody's interest rates are high and everybody's kind of feeling it, which is kind of interesting for sure.
Mm.
I was thinking we're just in our own little world, and we're not. Everybody's feeling the same things. Very, very cool. So, when you talk about transitioning from you were a CEO for a long time, you did your thing, and then now as you are an advisor to
Mm.
other companies, so do they listen to you? And do they listen to you go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, no, that's cool. We're gonna do our own thing." Did I,
Yeah.
what was that like? What's it like being an advisor for sure?
Yeah, so far I like it a lot.
Mm.
Like the upside is I don't have uh, all that responsibility as you have when you're a business owner.
Yeah, yeah, I know for sure.
I get paid any how if my advice are good or bad. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah!
But But
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, but for me, it's like important to underline that it's advices. Yeah, you as a business owner take the decision with your board.
right.
So you get a lot of advices from a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like to say if I give it an advice, this is why I say it, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and if I know somebody is meaning another thing, I mention that as well often. So they should take
Yeah.
the decision. But I like it a lot. Yeah, it's very interesting as well because you get to know more startup people because you are not
Mm-hmm.
a like some, at least I, when I were in the startup world as a business owner, were more like other startups could be a competitor, etc.
Right.
Now I'm just much more open.
Ah, that's very cool. It's kind of like the difference between being a parent and a grandparent, right? Like being the, when you're the grandparent, you pump them full of sugar and you send them home. It's fine. It's no big deal, right? You know,
It's a
and
good
then
illustration.
the parents are like, oh, come on, you know, it's like, yeah, there's no repercussions here. No, that's great. That's funny. That's too funny for sure. How many companies are you advising at the moment?
At the moment, is two companies.
Just two?
So
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see where it brings me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it and yeah, back to the plus sides. It gives me more flexibility, and that's
Yeah.
good. You know, when you are a startup or a business owner, you don't have a lot of free time.
Oh, that's true too. You don't
Mm.
really. You no, not at all. Like you're constantly, I mean, 16, 18-hour days is normal. I mean, I do it. Like I work till 1 in the morning, get up at 6 a.m. and and it's kind of the life, right? When you're in a startup for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's for sure. It's not but it's not for everybody. Not everybody's
Mm.
cut out to do this. I mean, it's difficult and it's hard. And I think I was talking to a venture capital. He was on my podcast like this. I was interviewing him. He goes, "Yeah, no, we're insane. Like everybody else looks at us like we're completely off, like from another planet." And I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah, we kind of are. We're, high
absolutely.
threshold for pain, high threshold for abuse, high threshold for risk, high threshold for all sorts of things, right? It's like, okay, yeah, no, for sure. That's so interesting. So very cool. So what do you if you had, you know, all the money in the world and you could do anything, what would you work on next? What would you do? Someone, okay, here you go. Here's $10 million. Go start a company. What would you do?
What would I do? Actually, I think I would start a company within PropTech in Norway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I would invest in maybe three other companies as well to spread
Oh,
the risk. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and I would travel a lot. No, but
You like
but
traveling, I see.
yeah, but no, but it's a good, very good signs in the market. I think in Norway that is going upwards within
Yeah.
PropTech and like for me as well. Since 2013, I've just in hobby, I've been like investing in properties and renting out. So it's like I can like combine my hobby with the professional life as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, there you go. That's the way to do it for sure. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, when you were in your, let's talk about the people that help you along the way, right? So when you were doing your startups and all those great things, were you they a family? Like, did you have like did your partners like understand? Was it difficult? What was that like? Because you've done a couple startups, right? You've done a couple.
No,
Yeah.
like the girlfriend couple, like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, like
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, the first startup, as you said, it took a lot of time. So that partner were gone. But so, so
I understand
if you
that.
yeah, so
Yeah,
but like other
family got it.
family, they're completely understanding and think is bold, like it's impressive, and because like you say, it's not easy.
Hmm.
It isn't. So it's a lot of factors you have to deal with every day. So
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the unofficial co-founders of a startup are the family, right? The family of the founder, the people that love the founder, right? They basically become your, because they're your support system, so that you can go do the things that you do. A lot of people don't talk about that. They don't talk about the wives and kids and parents and brothers and sisters and whoever else is helping you, friends, that are helping you along the way do what you do, because yeah, it's not this one person going out there doing it all. No, that is not what's happening for sure. It's not what happened. But yeah, but I understand the whole person not, especially on the partner side, not understanding you. Like I totally get that. I
yeah,
totally understand that. Yeah, for sure.
it's not
Yeah.
easy.
No,
Uh,
it's not. It's not
mm,
easy at all. And sometimes you feel bad because as a founder, you're like, I can't give you more. I can't give you
mm,
anything else.
mm.
This is about as much as you're getting out of me today. And I'm like toast. I've been working, 18 hours a day for weeks, and like, no, I don't want to go on a date with you.
No.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
no, I get it. I get it for
that's
sure.
right.
So the scene in you said in Norway is turning around, it's going well, or seems to be going well, it's getting better. If you were to look at we talked about AI a little bit, but any other major like trends in prop tech in Norway that you see? I mean, here in the US, it's a lot of new automation tools are coming
Yeah,
in. A lot of stuff around communication is
yeah,
coming into play. I'm just wondering what's happening in Norway, because you're my only Norway friend. So let's talk about
yeah.
the pulse in Norway. What's happening in Norway? I'm just curious.
Yeah, like the two you mentioned,
Uh-huh.
absolutely in Norway as well. It is. And you can see like, you have the small businesses, you have the medium sized, the big, you have like the traditional that I went for a long time in the history. And you can
Mm-hmm.
see that for the traditional big size companies, the Nordic and the Norwegian, it's important for them to like be at the stage and follow up what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
like in investments and in portfolio of other companies buying
Mm-hmm.
some shares there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a important trend, I think. And yeah, you mentioned a couple of areas, and you have also, just so I don't say something wrong, you have like
Yeah.
yeah, the management tools. That's a lot of companies within there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you have renting. That's like, I think often when we talk about prop tech, you also have those companies that are, of course, they are tech, but maybe they are also more digital, like, and that's
Right.
tech as well.
Right.
So, and you have like, yeah, like smart houses.
Right.
You have shared offices. That's some of it. And you have like, yeah, of course, real estate development. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there we have it. And financial solutions. That's
Yeah,
yeah, it has impact on the industry, of course.
for
And you
sure.
have, of course, if you look at platforms in ads in marketing, you
Mm-hmm.
have like one interesting development in Norway that you had a digital platform owned by a very big company named Schibsted,
Uh-huh.
and the platform is called Finn.no. That they have had almost monopoly on ads of house for sale and house
Oh,
for
okay.
rental.
Okay.
And yeah, now the industry of real estate agencies have started their own platform called Hjem.no, means home.no.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so they are challenging the big
Wow.
actor there to take some more of the pie, maybe, and as
Yeah.
well, maybe they try to do it better.
Interesting. Yeah. That is completely interesting. Some of that's happening here. We're having the wars of the portals, the wars of how am I going to find a house? I mean, because CoStar bought Matterport so that they could get the 3D visual thing happening and then Realtor.com was a part of the another one, and there was Zillow. We have a ton of them. Zillow, and there's Redfin, and then there's this, that, and then we have all these portals over here in the US on to sell, but Realtor.com was like kind of the main one. That was with the National Associations of Realtors, and they had their MLS. And but yeah, no, it's interesting to see what's happening around real estate search for a house, right? And now in the US, the cool thing is that people are even like the portals, those are that's like old news. Now what people are creating is let's not force a buyer to go through all of these categories to find a house. No, no, no. Just ask them what they want and use AI to ask them what they want. Like, hey, what do you want? Well, I want it to have, 3 bedrooms, and I want it to be close to a dog park, and I want it in good schools, or I want it in here, and I want it in here, and want it in here. And maybe I need this or that, and be close to a hospital, whatever it is, right? Because they're a nurse or whatever. And it just uses the preferences of the buyer instead of forcing the buyer to figure out what's best for them. It just takes what they want and then it goes finds it, right? So
Yeah.
it flips it on its head, which I think is super cool. And that's a new way to, look for property, right? So, because you can use AI for that, because that it can process that data super fast, right? Before AI, you couldn't really do that. I mean, you'd have to do it the way we were doing it, right?
Yeah.
It was like databases, but yeah, no, that's like the next generation, I think, of real estate search. I think is
Yeah.
going to be like that. Yeah, yeah, for
It
sure.
sounds so much better. And the other day I got actually some ads from the new player in the market, and they
Hmm.
talked about their AI implementation in their service. So maybe it's
Yeah.
coming here as well. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. I would think so. I think AI can disrupt a lot of different things. I hope that, one of these days that it'll just recognize tasks that I need to do and it just does them, so I don't have to do them anymore. That's what I want. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I want to have like a little parrot on my shoulder. We'll call it Polly, and because from the pirate movies. We'll call it Polly, and it just follows me around. And when I say something, I need to do something, or like, hey, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. It just adds it to my to-do list. And if it can do it for me, it'll do it for me. That's what I want. I want a little parrot that I walk around like a pirate on my shoulder to do all the things when I'm talking to people. Yeah, oh, yeah, I'll connect you with this, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. When it hears me go, I'll do, and then it recognizes it, writes it down. And then if it can do it for me, it does it for me. If not, then it adds it to my to-do list. But that's what I want. I want Polly. I want Polly, the AI parrot. So
Sounds good.
hopefully I can get Polly, the AI parrot. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be comfortable to hang out on my shoulder all day long. Or probably is something like, like somebody's embedding stuff in your brain. Like what are they doing? Put chips in their brain, or like
Yeah.
an eye, or like something. Maybe on this one it'll have to be in your ear so it listens to what you're saying. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't have to be in your ear. I don't know. But I'm sure there'll be some wearable technology that will do that for us, hopefully someday. Maybe I just gave somebody $1 billion idea. All right, y'all, go make money. I just want $1 million. If you make $1 billion on it, just kick me back $1 million. It was my idea. Just throw $1 million my way. It's all good.
That's good.
Why not? Right? Why not?
So somebody will be very happy.
Yes, exactly. To make Polly the parrot. And that was Amy's idea. And then trademark the name. Polly, AI. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other thing too, I think is going to happen is I've said this a couple of times, like, I don't know, you're fairly young, so I'm old, but back in the day, back in 98, 99, 1997, it was the dot-com boom, right? And so I remember like if you had .com after your name, like people are throwing money at you, right? So it was the .com, anything, .com, blank.com, this .com, whatever. And so it became the race for the domain names, right? And how cool your domain name was. And then people would buy domain names and resell them, right? Then there's this whole industry around buying your domain names, right? Well, I think the next thing that's going to happen is the AI co-pilot thing. Like, don't take my name, man. This is my AI name. You can't have it, right? And so now we're going to have all these people trying to register their name so nobody takes it. I think that's the next thing that happens.
Yeah.
So mine is
Interesting.
Max. Y'all can't take Max. If somebody takes Max, I'm going to come hunting down. Max is mine. Max is
Yeah.
my person.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting thought. Yeah.
I know. I know. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah.
Because I hear him, I was like, oh yeah, mine's Sadie, mine's Chris, mine's, they're all one name, right? They're all like one, whatever, like Madonna. You're like Aaron. And so, it's like yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Crazy
And
town.
and Amy, I think like what you are touching now is what you mentioned some of it earlier, and is that new technology, many people or some people get afraid of what it
Hmm.
could do and take their jobs, but I often think it gives opportunities. Uh,
Yeah.
Instead of taking jobs, obviously some businesses and some jobs during a lot of years get phased out. But I think in summarized, it brings opportunities.
Yeah, in the US, there's this phenomenon. I don't know if it's there, but the colleges and universities cannot keep up with the demand on computer science classes. Like
Mm,
there's more and more people wanting to get into like understanding how to code, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's great, and I think everybody recognizes that that's the next. It's such a blue ocean there, right? And so anything around engineering and computer science, and they don't have enough staff for it. Like and they're getting overwhelmed. As like so some of the I think the philosophy classes might be dead. I don't know, maybe that or the other, the maybe not. The liberal arts probably always be here to stay. But I do think that everybody does, and if you're going to follow what's happening in 10 years, you got to see what's happening at the student level, right? To understand what we might be seeing down the road. But yeah, no, for sure. It's in the US it's a big deal. Like they've been talking about it about can't have enough professors. But for me, I'm thinking, well, AI, you don't have to code anymore. AI will do it for you, right?
yeah.
At some point, thank God, there's you're not going to get the joke, but there's this commercial in the US where it says, you know, um, like somebody gets hurt and this person jumps into action and they're helping them or whatever, and they're like, are you a doctor? And then the guy goes, no, but I slept at a Holiday Inn last night, right? Or whatever, right? Like that's the joke. But so I'm not a website designer, but I totally built out a website. And so I go, well, yeah, I slept at Holiday Inn last night. But it's because it was all AI driven. It was
Yeah.
super simple. It was graphical. It was easy to do. They
Yeah.
filled in the box for you, and it actually looks kind of groovy. It's not a bad website. But that's kind of the same thing that AI is going to do for coding or data science or whatever it might be. Yes, are you going to need a person? Sure, you're going to need a person, but it's going to learn, right? And then at some point, it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe it's a different kind of computer science. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know what it ends up being, but I think it's cool for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting thought. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think so are the Nordic countries have a lot of prop tech companies. Are you the one thing I was talking about with Derek Pelnick, he's from Brussels. He runs the European Prop Tech House or European Prop Tech Association. And he was saying that commercializing, say, one prop tech company from Norway, the struggle that they sometimes have is all the different languages in Europe, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like one unified, not like in the US, it's all English, right? Well, if you're in Louisiana, you might not understand them because it's Cajun and I don't know. I don't know. But I pick on my neighbor. I'm in Texas, so I pick on my neighbor. Um, but yeah, like it's interesting the different language, the multitudes of different languages. So talk about if you're going to commercialize, say your prop tech companies you're advising now, and they want to go into Germany, there's a lift there, right? Not just a language lift, but like a cultural lift and
Yeah.
different things that they have to do. So what are the companies? How do they do that? What do they do
Yeah,
for
you
that?
have a very solid point because, as you say, in Europe, we have a lot of languages. It's not that big of a continent, but it's a lot of countries with different
Mm-hmm.
different languages.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like and as you are also mentioning, the cultural difference is bigger than we think. Like
Yeah.
from Norway to Sweden, we are neighbors. At the same times, there are differences there. Uh, especially to Denmark, that's like in the Nordic, and Finland. So you need to take that in consideration when you are scaling up and going into another market, another country. Absolutely. And if it is one thing I've learned the past 12 years is don't underestimate the differences. So my advice is to have a local on site. That means a local in
Mm,
each country,
mm,
at least.
mm.
And also, if you want to start up in more countries, you need to have the resources to do it, because it's not enough to like go what is called half-hearted or something
Right.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you just have to pull out in 1 year or something, and I'll lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Back in the day when I was a real estate developer and investor, I would say I'm not going to go into a market. And I was mostly multifamily, so this is the analogy, but I would say I'm not going into a market unless I can get 5, 6 properties there, because it's economies of scale. You have to build out your system. So to go get one little property in a market did not make sense. So I get it. I get you have to go all in, or you have to go in with enough plan to scale at enough level that makes sense for you to be there, right? Because if
Mhm.
you're not, I mean, otherwise, yeah, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, why would you do that? For sure. So that's kind of one of the things. Is that the PropTech, well, our PropTech Council is trying to help with is, any PropTech, say there's one of yours from Norway has a cool idea and it works really well and it's not here in the US. Well, we kind of help them get here. And so we have our whole resource kit around, hey, we can get you because you're right, you're going to need salespeople, you're going to need legal help, you're going to need customer support people that speak the language, you're going to need mentors and advisors, you're going to need like maybe development people in the same time zone, right? For you, it's European, so it doesn't matter. But if you're coming to the US or Australia or whatever, you're going to need people in that time zone that are addressing issues and solving problems and doing all those things. So it's burdensome on a company to break into another country, because you do have to have all of those resources built out, or a plan at least how to build them out so you can go into that market, right? And it's difficult, I get it. So that's one of the things that we do. If I put a plug in for the council, is that we do. If you want to come to the US, we can help you. We'll help you get there, right? So that is one of our thing. So if you know any prop tech companies in Norway, they want to come to the US, let me know. I'll be happy to
Yeah,
have
great
them.
that you're saying it, because I would love to. And one of the companies I'm mentoring called RegioX in Norway. Maybe that one, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, for sure. I think it's for me, and I'm waiting for the day when somebody goes, we want you to buy American and blah blah blah, and they get all up in my face about you're creating competition against American companies. I'm like, okay, number one, I'm an athlete. I was always an athlete ever since I was a kid. I played college sports. Competition makes you better. It's like, knock it off. It's like, if it doesn't exist here, or even if it does exist here, who cares? Like, it's about it making you better. And maybe it gives you an idea to be creative. I think competition's great. I have never shied away from it. I actually, our our software that we created, I originally thought that there was no competitors for it. And then I finally found some and I started doing cartwheels, because I was like, okay, now somebody recognizes that there's a market for this type of product and they're chasing it too. Yes. I mean, I think that's better it's better for you to have that than not. So I don't understand that whole territorial thing, but yeah. So anyway, so yeah, you got a cool product and you wanted to come over here, we'll help you. That's kind
Great.
of, yeah, for
Cool.
sure. For sure. And and as I talk to people, like if somebody wants to go to Norway, guess who I'm calling? I'm calling you and Innovate Norway. I mean, like,
Yes.
I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for sure. It's a good thing. Real estate is local, but prop tech is global. We're solving the same problems. You have to build a building, you have to maintain it, you have to rent it, you have to, I mean, 80% of the stuff that you do now, there's different codes and regulations and all those things, but pretty much 80% at a basic level, it's the same, no matter where you are, right? I mean, obviously construction is construction, but I just think I think it's just kind of silly that, I mean, I think there's great solutions everywhere and we should globally commercialize them. That's just kind of my half a nickel. That's what I'm going to try and do. So yeah.
Exciting, and I agree, and especially in markets where the countries are good friends, like the Nordic in the States, for instance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's awesome for sure. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you because they wanted to find out more about you and all those great things, how would they do that?
Just hook me up at LinkedIn. I
Yes,
think
that's
that's the
the
easiest
place,
way.
man. That's how I found you.
Yeah, you found me. But
Yeah.
my last name is difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll just go by your first name. They'll find you.
Yeah.
But I'll put it in the podcast so everybody knows who you are. I'll put your LinkedIn profile in there. So that's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, this has been a great, great conversation. Thank you for coming on my show. And this will be fun for everybody to kind of see what's happening. And hopefully we'll get to meet up out, when I'm across the pond in a couple of months. So that'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me. It's been a great time talking with you about an interesting subject.
It's great. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Bye.